When people visit Buenos Aires, Argentina, many of those people plan to do a day trip to Uruguay in their itinerary and specifically visit the town of Colonia del Sacramento. And Colonia del Sacramento is a colonial town, and give or take, the ferry journey from Buenos Aires to get here is about 90 minutes. And many of the people that do the day trip simply do it because it allows them to tick off another country from their bucket list. But my question is this: is Colonia worth it as a day trip from Buenos Aires? Now, for me personally, I did not actually do a day trip to Colonia from Buenos Aires. I actually stayed overnight in Colonia for 2 days, taking the bus from Montevideo. But still, if you are staying in Buenos Aires for 1 week or 2 weeks or even 3 weeks, I do not think that the day trip to Colonia is worth it. And let me explain why. Firstly, you need to get up early in the morning to get to the ferry terminal and then check in and then go through passport control, both Argentinian and Uruguayan passport control at the ferry terminal. And then you've got to do the same on the way back to Buenos Aires. Now, luckily, the process of checking in and going through immigration is relatively smooth, but still you have to do this, and this does add on time onto your itinerary. Secondly, even though Colonia is a nice town and you do see some nice colonial architecture and cobbled streets and churches, to be really honest with you, it is not the most beautiful town that you're going to see in South America. The historic old town is very small. You can see some ruins there from the colonial settlers, and you can learn more about the history, how the Portuguese and the Spanish were fighting each other over the land. And if you are lucky with the weather, you do get some nice sunsets there. You may even be able to see the skyscrapers in Buenos Aires if the sky is clear. But with all that said, I do think the town is quite unremarkable. I don't think you're going to come here and be blown away by the town. I don't know anyone who says that Colonia del Sacramento is in their top 10 favorite places in South America. Now, my third reason for why I don't think the town is worth the day trip from Buenos Aires is simply the prices. Uruguay is a more expensive country than Argentina. It is a bit strange, but you do find prices in shops, cafes and restaurants in Colonia on average to be more expensive than those in Buenos Aires. Let me give you an example. When I was in Buenos Aires, I went to Pizza Guerin, and Pizza Guerin is the most famous pizza place in Buenos Aires. It is really touristy. It is always extremely packed, but they do good pizza, and I got 2 big slices of pizza here, and this cost me 8,600 Argentine pesos. You can see that's about £5 or that's about $6.40. Now, when I went to Colonia, I got a takeaway chavito. Chavito sandwich is the national dish in Uruguay, and you can get it at restaurants or you can get it at these little takeaway trucks. I got this chavito here at a takeaway truck, and this cost me 380 Uruguayan pesos. So that's about £7 or $9.50. And that chavito was definitely smaller than my 2 slices of pizza. And if you actually want to go to a sit-down restaurant and have chavito with fries, you'll be paying double that, around 750 pesos. I should just emphasize that these are all prices from August 2025. I know that the Argentine peso has been a bit of a crazy currency in recent years gone by, and the inflation has been quite high, though in recent months it does seem to have stabilized. Regardless, you do pay higher prices in Colonia than in Buenos Aires for, in my opinion, an inferior experience. Instead, if you want to go to Uruguay, I would recommend this. Either go to Montevideo for a long weekend trip for 3 or 4 days. For me, Montevideo is a much more interesting place to visit than Colonia. There is more to do. There are some good cafes, good food markets. Again, it is more expensive than Buenos Aires and not as interesting as Buenos Aires, but if you're going to go to Uruguay, you may as well go to the most interesting and biggest city in the country. Or if you have 1 week available in Uruguay, you can do 1 day in Colonia and then go to Montevideo for 4 days and then do 2 days in the beach town Punta del Este. But to visit Uruguay as a day trip from Argentina, yeah, I don't think it's actually worth it. But let me give you 2 alternative day trip options that you can take from Buenos Aires. So firstly, you can go to the town of Tigre. So what you do is head to Retiro station and then you take the train up to Tigre. It costs 900 pesos. It's really cheap. It's like 70 US cents. So for the journey there and back, it's $1.40. It's a nice little town. You can go and walk by the river. There are market stalls. There are nice cafes. You can get ice cream. There's like an amusement park there too. The other day trip you can do is head to La Plata, Plata, and in fact, you may want to stay overnight here because La Plata is actually one of the biggest cities in Argentina. Again, you take the train from Buenos Aires to get to La Plata, but this time you have to go to Constitucion train station instead of Retiro. Prices are the same as those prices to Tigre, so it's 900 pesos for a one-way ticket again. So La Plata is actually home to the largest cathedral in Argentina. There are some really nice parks there as well. There's one part where you can see the 2 football stadiums for the 2 football clubs in La Plata, including the final football club that Maradona managed, so you can see some murals of Maradona. There is also this park called the República de los Niños. It's kind of like a theme park town with these funny buildings that you see. It's good for kids. There are some roller coasters and there are lots of shops selling churros and ice cream everywhere. And also you have the Baxar market in the city. It's a big food court with lots of food options and bars. I really liked it there. So yes, I would say that La Plata and Tigre are both better day trip options than Colonia. They're both cheaper, they're both more feasible, and you don't need to bring your passport to go through immigration twice. But if you do disagree with me, comment below and tell me why. Tell me why you think Colonia is the best day trip to do from Buenos Aires. And if you do agree with me that Tigre and La Plata are better day trip options, let me know which day trip you preferred out of Tigre and La Plata. And by the way, if you are in Argentina and you are going to take the ferry to get to Uruguay, either as a day trip or to spend a longer time in Uruguay, watch my video how to get from Uruguay to Argentina and vice versa. I have explained step by step how you book your ferry tickets, which company to go with, and how the ferry works, how immigration works. I've done it all for you in this video, so you can watch this video and it explains everything you need to know. If you have found this video useful and interesting, do make sure you click the like button and subscribe to my channel for more travel videos.